Hi and welcome back. This is part 3 of the Supercharge Your Sleep, how to optimize your quality of your sleep, even when you're sleep deprived for whatever reason. And there are lots of reasons these days to be sleep deprived, and especially if you've got a child who has special needs, who has needs that in the night, a child who has difficulty sleeping, for example, if they have ADHD, um, or you have a child with some medical needs that you need to wake up frequently and check on them in the night or to provide care. It is hard, and I think disrupted sleep is such a hard thing to deal with, and it can really affect all aspects of your health, from your physical to your mental health. And it can be such a hard thing to improve, but it is entirely possible to improve the quality of your sleep through making some simple lifestyle changes, adding in some supplements like I talked in part 2, and just being aware of how your environment affects your sleep quality as well, and your circadian rhythm. So we've talked a little bit in the section 1, part 2, about the circadian rhythm and how certain things can impact on your circadian rhythm and affect your sleep at night. Now I'm going to talk a bit more just about some practical tips, more from I guess a mental health point of view, and sort of calming your brain and sort of getting your brain ready to sleep at night and have a good night's sleep. So let me just get my slides up for this one. Here we go. So the next tips I have are about how to help your mind to unwind and relax and get ready for bed. So first of all, you need to get your thoughts out of your head before you head to bed. So that's what I try and think of. Get your thoughts out of your head before you get into bed. So helping you switch off a busy mind is really important. If you're a mum or a dad, particularly sort of talking to mums because I'm one myself, and you're just busy, you've got lots of things in your mind, you're multitasking, you're planning for the next day, you're reviewing how things happened on that day and what you could change, what you want to change, or how things could be different tomorrow if you did things a different way. So switching off your busy mind is quite important, and it's actually a skill. It's a skill that I think we're not taught, and it's something that you just need to practice. And so some very simple things that you can do, but you need to practice doing them and to do them consistently. You may need to try a few different things to see which ones work best for you. So just very simply, very easily, you could write down a to-do list. Get it out of your head. Instead of trying to remember all the things, carrying it in your head, write down a to-do list. It's not just for you. You could also have a to-do list, put it somewhere obvious for your partner, your husband, your whoever is helping you out, carer. Have a to-do list that is there, in real life, on paper, in black and white. Get everything that needs to be on the to-do list out of your head onto physically the to-do list, and that just takes the pressure off your mind. Your mind is not then thinking or feeling the need to be alert so that it remembers these things. Your mind now knows you're not going to forget because it's out there. It's actually on a physical piece of paper, and therefore your mind can just switch off and relax. So if you're really busy, if you're worried, if you're someone who worries about forgetting things, if you are someone who you think you're a forgetful person, make use of a to-do list. Just dump everything on your to-do list before you go to bed. The other thing with regards to writing is to write down a journal. So sometimes you just need to get the emotions out of your head and out of your body. You need being able to sit down and write. It doesn't have to be long. You don't have to write a long entry. You don't have to go into great depth to analyze your day, your emotions, your feelings, your actions. You just have to write, sit down and just have like a brain dump. Just dump everything out of your brain, the most important things, the things that first come to your head. Just put pen to paper and just write. You don't have to analyze, you don't even have to reread it, but just sometimes sitting down for 5-10 minutes just to write in a journal can be very, very, very helpful. It just releases some of the tension from the day. And interestingly, you may find after writing in a journal, things come out subconsciously that you never even really consciously thought of. And sometimes they work out in your dreams later that night. So sometimes the next day when you look back at your journal and see what you wrote and you kind of remember what dreams you had, that can be quite interesting, can give you some insight into subconscious thoughts, automatic negative thoughts maybe. So I do recommend writing in a journal, and it's worth giving it a try. Not a journal in the sense of, you know, when we were teenagers, we used to write, oh, and today I met up with so-and-so, and then, oh, and you know, so-and-so is now dating this other, my best friend, or I wish I had a boyfriend. Not, you don't have to write about what happened, events in the day. When you write in a journal, just free flow, let your pen, let your hand just flow freely and just let it out. Let out whatever you feel like you need to let out without giving it too much thought, and no judgment on what you're writing about at all. Okay. Next thing you can do is you can either say a prayer, or if you are not particularly religious, then you can do a gratitude practice. I have in the past used a gratitude books, like a little gratitude journal where you can jot down, you know, between 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for the day, that has happened in the day. Nowadays I use a gratitude stone, which I'll show you at the end of this presentation. Whenever I just put the stone under my pillow, and then just as I'm about to fall asleep, I put the stone in my hand and think of 3 to 5 things that I'm very grateful for happened during that day. And even if you have like the worst day ever, like everything goes wrong, you're sure to be able to find 1 or 2 things that you can be grateful for. And why is gratitude important for sleep? Well, thinking about positive things and things that are that actually went well is one way of switching off your sympathetic nervous system, which is switched on when there are moments of stress or bad things happening. And when you think of positive things, you actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and relax part of your nervous system. And the other tip to be able to help you switch off your mind is to set routines. Set routines for what you're going to do from the time your kids are in bed, or from the time you finish washing up in the kitchen. Just set a routine and make it automatic. So if something's more automatic and it becomes a habit, it doesn't require much brain power. It doesn't require much thinking. And that means you do an autopilot, you get things done without much thought, and it's easier then to switch off your brain. If you have a routine for the mornings as well, it really helps, because then you're just on autopilot and you're not subconsciously thinking during the night, what do I have to do tomorrow morning? So most of you hopefully would have had a routine for the mornings. I know what it's like with 2 kids. It's just like you just need a routine to get you through the mornings. And if you don't, you might want to really consider making a plan for a routine in the morning that's like a healthy routine, and something that makes life easier, where you don't have to think about things too much or plan things out too much. And finally, now you're ready to get into bed, here are some things you can do to help you relax before you get into bed, or while you're in bed before you actually fall asleep. Because like I mentioned earlier, what you need to do is kind of switch off or kind of calm down the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your autonomic nervous system that deals with stress and makes you alert and ready to react and ready to take action. And you really don't want that sympathetic nervous system, you know, active when you're trying to sleep, because what you want to do is you don't want to be alert, you don't want to be ready to take action, you want to be able to switch off. And you can't just switch off the sympathetic nervous system, you actually need to switch on the opposite, the parasympathetic nervous system. So one is like the accelerator on the car and one is like the brake. So you can't press them both at the same time. You can't have an active sympathetic nervous system and an active parasympathetic nervous system. You have to kind of switch off the sympathetic nervous system, like the accelerator, get off the accelerator of the car, and then you switch on the brakes, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And here are some examples of some practices, some relaxing practices that are very easy to do, that don't take much time, energy, or effort. You just have to get into a routine with them. You know, choose 2 or 3 things. If you're not doing anything and you're just trying to you had a busy day, rush, 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 and then you get into bed and you're not doing any of these things to help your body and your mind unwind before you go to bed, that could be one reason why sleeping is difficult. Or either you find it difficult to fall asleep, or your sleep is not a restorative, relaxing sleep. So you can have a bath, you can have a shower, absolutely, applying moisturizer to your body, to your face, having like a little self-care routine. It doesn't have to take long, it can be short, but if you're doing it consistently, it's a trigger to your brain and your body that you're approaching bedtime, you're approaching that time where you're going to fall asleep. So you're starting to switch on the parasympathetic and you're starting to switch off the sympathetic nervous system. There are some yoga poses which can be very relaxing, and you can hold these yoga poses. So for example, the child's pose is particularly relaxing. You can stay there for a minute or two. You can do this on your bed, or you can do it on the floor next to your bed. That's fine. And just stay there and take some deep breaths while you're doing it, and just relax before you get into bed or try to sleep. There are some simple stretches you can do for your whole body, but I would suggest doing some stretches for your back, neck, and shoulders, because these are the areas of a lot of tension in the day that gets carried on your shoulders. Deep breathing is really important. It doesn't have to be long. You can do about, say, 2-3 minutes of deep breathing, where the focus is on taking a deep breath in, holding your breath for a couple of seconds or 3 seconds, and then breathing out. And focus actually on making the out breath long and slow. If possible, in breath, say, for example, 3 seconds, then hold your breath for 3 or 4 seconds, and out breath should be 5 to 6 seconds. So almost double the length of time it takes you to breathe in. And as you breathe out slowly, the slower you breathe out, the more it relaxes. So the more it switches on your parasympathetic nervous system and helps you to relax. Meditation and deep breathing are very similar in effect. Often when you do meditation, there's an element of controlled breathing, slowing down your breathing, slowing down your heart rate. That can be very helpful for getting your body and your mind ready for sleeping. Visualization, that's sometimes an overlap in meditation, because sometimes you visualize things while you're meditating, but visualizing positive images, memory of a happy moment you had with your child in the day, memories of a holiday that you had in the past, anything that brings up feelings of joy, warmth, relaxation. If you can visualize this just as you're lying down, getting ready to sleep, and taking some deep breaths, this can really, really help to switch off that sympathetic nervous system and switch on the parasympathetic, so that you can actually fall asleep faster and hopefully have a more restorative sleep as well. So like I mentioned earlier, so this is my gratitude journal that I used to use. It's really easy. It's got these little prompts. So as you can see, there's not much space to write, and I don't feel, when you start with this, you don't feel that you're under any pressure to do lots of writing. But it was really useful when I was going through a period when sleep was really, really difficult, and I just was grumpy at bedtime because my daughters just kept waking me up repeatedly and was very clingy, and it was difficult. To just be able being able to write 3 things that I'm thankful for today, or and here there's another prompt which says things from today that I would like to do again tomorrow, or moments that made me smile today. So these are little things that don't take long, and really, really help you reframe your mind from negative to positive, which helps you sleep better. And this is my gratitude stone, which I use now. So every single night, just as I put my head on my pillow, I take this out from under my pillow, put it in my palm, close my hands, and I just scan back. I can close my eyes and think about 3 to 5 things that I'm very grateful for, things that went well today, even if it's a really, really tiny thing. I've had the worst day in the world, everything went wrong, I can still find 2 or 3 things that I can be grateful for. And I find that doing that really helps me fall asleep. So for me, I don't meditate at night anymore. In the past, I did need to meditate. I personally meditated in bed lying flat. In fact, I used to jokingly call it beditating. So when things were bad, when I was really struggling with sleep, meditating was an important part of my nighttime routine. Now things are a bit better. I don't feel the need for that, but this gratitude stone, the gratitude practice at night for a good sleep is essential. And also for me, stretching and deep breathing is also essential. So take some of the tips that I've given you today. Hopefully you'll find 2 or 3 things that you can incorporate into your day that you will find useful and helpful. Don't try things just once and then go, oh, that didn't work. Give something, if you're going to try something new, like the a gratitude journal or the blue light blocking glasses, give it a try for at least a week, even better 10 days to 2 weeks. Don't give up if something doesn't work in like 2 or 3 days, especially if your sleep's very disrupted and it's been going on for a long time. It may take more time for these tips to take effect and help you, but don't give up. Don't give up. And just bear in mind that there are ups and downs. There are times where your child is ill, your child needs more care. They're about to have an operation. They're going through a very difficult time in their lives for numerous reasons, either emotional or physical. And there will be times where your sleep's just going to be absolutely awful. But just bear in mind that it's a phase, hopefully, and that there are times where things can get better. And there are these little things that you can change in your lifestyle that can help you get better quality sleep so that you feel a bit better the next day. So all the best, and I hope you have a good night's sleep tonight.